Well, hi there, everybody, and welcome to our next Eco, Not Ego Biz podcast. My name is Nettie Wilson, and this morning I have got the pleasure of talking to Claire Jenner from the 2 Minute Foundation, based here in Bude, where we are also based with our beautiful brand. And today, Claire, thank you so much for making the time to speak with me today. And we would love to know more about what it is you do with the 2 Minute Foundation, and a little bit for the people who don't know and have never discovered you before. It'd be great to hear a little bit more about how it started and basically the story behind what you do. So I'm going to sit back and have a little listen to what you're going to talk about with me today, and I will ask you a few questions along the way. But go ahead, Claire, and thank you for coming along today.
All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Nettie. It's a pleasure to be here. So 2 minutes started way back in the early around the 2011, 2012 era. And it all started with an idea. So our founder, a wonderful guy called Martin, he went for a surf on the north coast of Cornwall, came out of the water, and the beach was littered with plastic bottles. There'd been a storm, there was just plastic everywhere. And he was not an environmentalist. He was not by any means someone in that world, but he kind of went, this isn't okay. Like, I don't want to be coming out of the surf and just seeing so much plastic everywhere. He had a little bit of a following on Twitter because he was an author. He'd done a little bit of TV work. So he had a few followers on Twitter. So back in the day before Instagram, as was the norm, he then put a tweet out saying, the beach is covered in plastic. I can't believe it. I'm just going to spend 2 minutes and I'm going to do a 2-minute beach clean. Who wants to join me? And it went mad from there. And it was this concept of something really simple, an everyday guy just getting involved, just won the hearts of the world. And it very quickly became this worldwide movement, really, of people jumping on that bandwagon and saying,
Yeah.
you know what? Yeah, I can do a 2-minute beach clean. I've got 2 minutes to spare. Who hasn't got 2 minutes to spare, you know? And it kind of went from there. It snowballed. And before he knew it, the 2-minute beach clean, as it was then, became a non-profit organization. It became a CIC. And then from there has grown this charity. So the 2-minute beach clean is our origin story. It's our very first campaign. And we've grown from there to where we are today, which is a national charity doing so much more than just 2-minute beach cleans.
Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic to have the story behind something like that. I'm talking to a few people now on these podcasts, and it's their why, why they started something and how it just kind of snowballed. So it's great to have that background story, isn't it? And I think people can relate to that. From something so small, something amazing has grown. So tell us a little bit more about how that's grown and where it's kind of gone now, from just a simple beach clean to what you are doing now and where it's going.
Yeah, so I think quite quickly after everyone joined on this movement of saying, I want to do a 2-minute beach clean, people were then saying, but how do I do it? What do I do? What equipment do I need? You know, I'm finding things on the beach I don't want to pick up. So that all got fed back to Martin and the very early Beach Clean Network. And he realized there was a need to provide people with the tools. So he'd done the encouragement bit, he'd got people on board, but then he needed to give them tools to make it easier for them. So he and a friend designed what we now have as our beach clean stations. So these wooden A-frame stations that contain litter pickers and bags and a little bit of messaging, a little bit of information that just gives everyone that little nudge that they need. So now when people say, oh, well, I want to do a little beach clean, but I don't have a litter picker, we've now got a network of 1,500 of these around the coast and inland, so that people can go and borrow the tools that they need in order to do that beach clean or that litter pick. So
is it like a little station with the sort of litter picking equipment?
That's right.
On there that people can take and just use.
Yep, exactly that. So people can go along, they can borrow the stuff. It's got our website on there in case they want to learn a little bit more. You know, it's everything that someone might need, but also it's simple enough that even for people that haven't heard of us, haven't heard of beach cleaning or litter picking, have never done that before, they can walk past one of these things at their nearby park or river or beach, and it gives them enough information that they can have a go there and then. It's not a kind of, you know, because it is accessible to everyone. That's the great thing about it just being 2 minutes and it's in your own time, you know. There's all these massive, big, organised beach cleans, which are great. These once-a-month things where 40 people turn up and you clear a beach. They're brilliant, and I love those. But actually, there's a whole lot of people that want to do things like that in their own time, that can't make it at Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning to a certain beach, or can't face having that many people around them at the moment, you know. So where we fit in is that actually it's these everyday actions. It's the when you're walking down the street, or when you're
Mm.
passing the beach with your dog, or when you're on your way to school, even having these little ideas in the back of your head that actually your little 2-minute action will make a
Mm.
difference, because we're all
Yeah.
doing it. There's
Yeah.
thousands and millions of us doing it every day. All of those add up to making a really big difference.
Absolutely, they do. And just to sort of pick up on what you were saying there, it started on the beach, but actually it has now gone into more sort of town situations as well. So people, it's not just on the beach, it's
Yeah.
actually around sort of where people are actually living, working, and in town centres as well. So that has grown then, hasn't it? Just from being the simple 2 minute on the beach to
Yeah.
other locations as well, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it has. And I think it's really important that it has, you know, because what we find on the beaches isn't starting at the beaches, it's starting inland. You know, 80% of the litter that we find at the ocean and at the coastline has started inland. So actually, if we
Yes.
can pick up that litter in central London, central Birmingham, central Norwich,
Yeah.
anywhere away
Yeah.
from the coast, if we can stop it getting into the waterway and ending up at the beaches and in the ocean, then we're winning, aren't we? So very
Absolutely.
quickly we saw people that were doing a beach tea when they were at the beach, but then actually when they went home or went inland, they couldn't then walk past that Coke bottle or the crisp packet or the cigarette butts, because they know that otherwise they're going to find that at the beach. So this inland litter campaign really, really grew very organically, and the litter pick was born.
Yes. So you've also got the story, obviously, of the 2 Minute Foundation, but you've also got the story of, say, a plastic bottle, or, you know, something that a person has dropped. So if you were to start the story of a bottle that got dropped, you know, and then blown wherever, and then it ends up in the sea, that actual bottle, that plastic bottle, could also tell a story from where it started to then how it ended up where it is.
Absolutely, yeah, and it takes you back to that sort of, I don't even know what school year you did it, but when you learnt about the water cycle, you know, that things get blown in the wind and then they go down a drain or the gutters in the roads, and they go into the sewage system and then out towards the ocean. And all it takes is a little bit of wind, a little bit of rain, a little bit of sun damage on that item, and very quickly it enters our water stream.
Yeah.
Um, and it
Yeah.
happens to everything, and it's accidental half the time. You know, you put things in a bin
Mm.
to do well, but actually a big gust of wind comes along, or a seagull or a pigeon comes along, takes that item out of the bin, and very quickly it's in the environment. So it does
Mm.
seem to be a lot of blame with litter picking, and I do get that it's very frustrating when you see people actively leaving litter, but actually that's not the majority of the litter that we're picking up. The majority of litter being picked up is that accidental stuff that is
Yeah.
blown out of the bin, blown out of the landfill, fallen out of your bag. You know, we've all been there when you've gone to, say, for example, take your phone out your pocket and out comes an old receipt with it, and it blows away in the wind very quickly.
Especially
You
in
know,
Cornwall.
yeah, anywhere that there's wind, it happens. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, we're all equally responsible for the accidental littering that happens, because who's to say that the ice cream wrapper that I chucked in the bin yesterday might not just have been taken out by the seagull and then dropped
Mhm.
on the floor next to it, you know? So there's a responsibility for all of us to take care of that sort of side of things, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about that sort of education piece as well, it's
Mm.
how people are made aware and educated, in inverted commas, on that story of litter and how they can help. So I know that the 2 Minute Foundation, because you and I have had a conversation before about the sort of things that you do. Tell us a little bit more about the sort of how you've got involved in education and how that's evolved and how it's now growing to help people really understand, and especially young people. I know you do a lot of work with young people.
We do, yeah. So we have the 2-minute beach school, which is based here in Bude. It would be great if there were little 2-minute beach schools all around the country, but at the
That would
moment
be
we're just focusing
fantastic.
on people. Wouldn't it be cool?
Yeah.
But it's a place that people can come and learn. So, you know, I think it was David Attenborough that said people protect what they love, right? And they're only going to
Yeah.
love what they experience. You're going to have so many people that don't really get why we care about the beach. Generally, why do people care about whales? Why do people care about barnacles? Why do people care about seaweeds? You need to get them onto the beach and make them fall in love with it. Find their passion and then give them the tools that they need to help to protect that thing. Whether it's
Yeah.
that they love the geology of the rocks, whether it is that they love the crabs in the rock pools, whether it's that they really get excited by the waves and the sort of the oceanography side of things, whatever it is that they love at the beach, we can give them the information they need to then live a life that helps to protect that thing. But you
Yeah.
can't do that unless people are experiencing the beach. So what we do is work with anyone and everyone who wants to come to the beach. We'll spend an hour with them, we'll spend a year with them, we'll spend as much time as we can with them to help them fall in love with something here, to get that little light bulb moment that makes them go,
Yeah.
wait, now I get why it's worth doing this. Now I
Yes.
understand why I need to protect these cliffs. Or now I understand why I need to think about the lizards that are in the sand dune, whatever it might be, to
Yeah.
get them on board. So we do work with people from the home educated community. We run groups after school. We run holiday sessions. We go into schools for those that can't get to the beach and try and take a little bit of beach into them. Because
Yeah.
ultimately, without our oceans being healthy, without our coastlines being healthy, the whole planet isn't particularly healthy. So there might be people inland that don't necessarily get that connection between what they're doing in inner city, central England, and how that affects the ocean.
Yeah.
If we can
Yeah.
get to those people and try and make those links clear and try and
Mm.
help them to understand that, that's when real change can happen. And I think
Yeah.
that education piece, as you say, is vital because,
Yeah.
you know, you all remember it from your school days, right? If you're given a rule that you don't particularly like you have to wear your blazers when walking down the corridor, for example, if you don't understand why that is, you rebel against it, or
Yeah.
you poo-poo it, or you try and circumnavigate it in some way. You just don't
Mhm.
care. But if
Yeah.
you have sat down and they explain to you the reason that we actually have to wear our blazers when we're walking along the corridor, I mean, I don't even know what the reason is, but there was definitely in my school you had to wear blazers when you
Yeah.
corridor. And I still hate
Yes.
that rule. I remember it, you know. If
Yes.
someone had explained to me why it was important, if someone
Yeah.
had given me a little bit of ownership of that and given me the credit that and the respect that I deserved to understand that,
Yeah.
then I feel like I would have been on board with it much quicker. And it's the
Yes.
same with
Yeah.
all of this kind of thing.
It is.
People
It
on
is
board by
absolutely.
explaining and helping
Yeah.
them understand.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been on a few beach cleans with you, and one of the things that I picked up on was the little tiny microplastics, nurdles. And
Yeah,
what a great name,
great
nurdles.
name. Great
Great
name.
name. But the things that they actually, if you think about it, it's not just a microplastic, it's the damage that it causes, not only to the environment, but to sea life, to whales, to birds, to because they fill up the stomach of the animal that consumes whatever's eaten it. So for example, a whale will eat so many fish that have got this inside them because they've
Yeah.
scooped it up. And then you've got animals that feel, that they're not hungry anymore, but they're starving to death because they're just so full of these plastics. I mean, that's one of
Mhm.
the things that really hit home for me. So anybody who's an animal lover, for example, would surely get something like that. They would understand that bit. So for myself and taking ownership of that, that's one of the things that really hit home for me. And the impact that that has is devastating.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And I think everyone can find that.
Yeah.
Everyone can find that. Like for you, that's what resonated. It was the
Hmm.
animals, but the tunnels full of plastic. Great. That was probably one of 100 things you've learned since coming to a beach clean with us. But that's the one that's
Absolutely.
so that's your
Yes.
hook, which is great.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so many people have got so many different hooks. So the
Hmm.
more we can get our messaging out there, the more people we're hooking in the different things that we're able to give them the
Yeah.
information.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's also not just looking at the negatives, it's looking at the positives, isn't it? It's looking at the
Yeah.
positive work that people can do. It's a bit like the story of, the man with the turtles on the beach, isn't it? Where he
Mhm.
throws one turtle back into the water and people are going, well, why are you doing this? He said, well, it makes a difference to that turtle, to that
Yes.
one turtle. If we all do something, like you said earlier, then it makes the compound effect of that is massive.
Yeah, it really is. And I think even as humans, if we feel helpless or if we feel negative, a way to get out of that funk is to take a positive action. So if you're
Yeah.
feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling really anxious about the state of the world, if you're feeling really lost because you just don't understand how you can help, just taking one step, you get that dopamine hit, you get those happy hormones coming in at you, and it really does
Yeah.
help you take those
Yeah.
positive steps
Yeah.
forward out of that situation.
Yeah.
Just simply doing a 2-minute litter pick or taking a minute to go and feed the birds in your garden, anything that is positive for the environment will make you feel better about the state of the environment. And
Yeah.
we are really positive about the future because actually
Yeah.
30 years ago, we weren't having these conversations. We were
Absolutely.
the very few people saying, oh, I think we need to consider the pandas. Back then it was pandas. And now
Yeah.
who's talking about pandas? They're not. It's a much bigger picture now. It's the global ocean health that is the
Yeah.
biggest problem. And there are
Yeah.
so many people working together to tackle it and to improve it,
Yeah.
make things
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
And I
And
think it looks quite,
stories yeah,
I
it's
think it looks
stories
quite
like
good for the
yours.
future.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. And it's stories like yours from the 2 Minute Foundation that helps to highlight all of that. So, Claire, if people want to know more, can you tell us how they can do more? And particularly, we've got the summer season coming up, people holidaying here, right here in Bude, where we're both, fortunate enough to live. So what are the things that people can do if they see, is there something on your website? What have you got a program of things coming up? Please tell us a little bit more about that so people can get involved.
Yeah, there's absolutely tons. So if you are coming to Bude then or near to Bude, come and join us at the beach. We've got free activities year round, but obviously we also do a lot more in the summer months because we have more people visiting. So you can find all of that on our website, which is 2minute.org. Nice and simple. Our socials are really great. So there's a really good loads of information on our social media. If you're on Facebook, Twitter, not that we post much on there anymore. Instagram and of course TikTok for those younger generations.
Yeah.
You can on there. We've got a load of YouTube videos. You can find our channel, 2 Minute TV, and there's loads of stuff on there. If you don't want to join an organized activity, there's loads of silly little videos of me showing you fun things that you can do at the beach, especially if you're coming with young people. Loads of different ideas, not just coming to the beach and making a sandcastle, but what else can you do at the beach? How else can you engage
Yes.
with the ocean and the coastline?
Yes.
So have a look at the YouTubes and just reach out. Send me an email. I love to hear from people, and I will help you in any way I can to give you some inspiration for what you can do. But equally, if you're not coming to Cornwall, go inland. Go find your rivers and your parks, your green spaces, and show them some love. Go find
Yeah.
some bugs. Go find some clouds. Go find some grasses that you can absorb yourself in, and obviously remove any litter that you see when you're there.
Absolutely. And it helps with that feel good factor, like you say, those dopamine levels and those happy vibes that people need to feel in a world at the moment that seems to be full of chaos. But hey, we can all do our bit in a positive
Definitely.
way. So, Claire, it's absolutely lovely to talk to you today. And really, thank you so much for sharing all that you have about the 2 Minute Foundation. You will find this podcast on our YouTube channel. We've got a YouTube channel as well called YouTube. And it will also be out on Instagram, Eco Not Ego Biz, and also on our, what's the one that you just said? I'm going mad here. What's the one TikTok? That's the one. I couldn't remember what it was for a minute. TikTok. Yeah, we'll be on our TikTok, Eco Not Ego Biz TikTok as well. So Claire, thank you so much for your time today. It's a pleasure talking to you. And we'll share more with everybody and get these little clips out as well. There'll be a few clips that we can share from this too on our
Great.
socials. So it'd be great to get the word out about the wonderful work that you do.
Thank
So
you very
thank you
much for
very
having
much for
me.
that today, Claire. Talk
Thank
to you again
you.
soon.
See you soon.